everyone, and welcome to Mugshots, where we don't know what the fuck we're doing. And so our guest today is someone who I actually have had the pleasure of meeting. Ven, introduce yourself.
Hi, I call myself Venates. I dabble a little bit with lots of little things. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
You're like the first person who's actually said, "I'm happy to be here."
Yeah, it's like everyone else hated.
Everybody, we did the Japanese torture. I don't remember what it's called, but you can watch it in an anime. I'm sure Enigma will remember the name of. But anyways, it's nails through every bone in your finger.
Oh, geez. Well,
that's what we do to all our other guests. That and rip out their fingernails.
As Rav mentioned, I know him in Enigma. I've met them before personally. I'm excited to get to know everybody else here. So it's like I've had good experiences with this group.
Yay.
Or most of the group. We're going to keep them moving forward.
So, Ven, what was the first thing I said to you when we first met?
That I look like your father and you resent me for that.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
How do you even know what your father looks like?
Oh,
That's a new one.
Oh,
That's
damn.
new.
Damn, we getting savage up in this.
I didn't even mean to get that savage. I apologize.
Damn. And you didn't even mean to. God damn. Okay, I can see why Seven marry you. He doesn't want to piss you off.
Oh, jeez. All right. And so we have our other regulars. We have Alex the intern.
Yes, that's true. I'm here.
The air conditioner is out for repairs, so he's not with us today. We have Enigma.
The aristocrats.
Not hardly. More like the aristocats in this case. Let's see. We have Japanese pancakes, waffles, whatever.
Fuck you. Again.
We have Tony Montana.
Meow.
Is my cat making noise? Because I can't tell.
No, that was me.
Oh, okay.
It was so good, that impression.
Oh no!
I got.
Oh no!
What did you expect?
You gave Alex a boner.
Yeah, he's
Fix your capper.
yeah, he's got like a camper boner right now. I forgot to mention this, Ven, but Alex here seems to have a boner for Capper for some reason.
No, I just a bit.
Don't deny it.
He
Don't
wants to
fucking
deny
deny
There
it.
could have been a little less hesitation there.
Look, he only wants to fuck him non-sexually, okay?
There's nothing wrong with the platonic fucking.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of incest here and there.
Remember, the rule is if your balls don't touch, it's not gay.
And
It's not gay if it's in a three-way.
And if for ladies, it's not gay if the ovaries don't touch.
Exactly.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. Okay, so because I don't have my shit together ever. What's our first topic?
Cheese.
I can say the first topic. Yeah, it's cheese.
Huh.
Thanks to Tony here.
Cheese is good.
Yeah, I enjoy cheese. Cheese doesn't love me.
I don't think cheese really loves anybody.
Yeah, I have a thorough love of cheese, and I think I got a lot of that from growing up. My mom, pretty much cheese was the way she got us to eat our vegetables. So like there are many vegetables that I just don't like unless they're covered in cheese.
Isn't that with every kid though?
Right. Over time, though, I came to find out, and I developed a unfortunate habit with good close friends of mine and a couple of crushes, as it came to later find out, that even at a young age, I'm talking like early middle school, I would plug toilets.
Oh.
Without.
I did that without cheese. You gotta step up your game, man.
I mean,
Come on,
like,
bro.
like without fail, like it started like busting pipes at our house. And
Jesus.
So you could plug up an outhouse and
And I
you're
mean,
like
we're
my
talking
brother.
to a guy where I swear to God, I never tried it, but I swear to God, at my peak, I could have successfully passed the gallon challenge. I'm not at a point now where I'm still feeling like I can match that. But I mean, that's how much dairy I was consuming on a daily basis. Like when the first week I moved to college, my mom threw out like 3 gallons of milk because they went
Jesus.
bad without me at the house.
Oh, jeez.
But I've been better about that recently. I tried not to introduce it so much. I'm at a point now where even if I just have a small amount of it, I start feeling like, I don't know, gunked up, I guess. But I mean, I still love the taste. How can you not?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you how you can't not. You have my taste buds. No, seriously, before I became lactose intolerant about a year or so ago, I would only have cheese pretty much on pizza, and there were really only 2 types of cheese I could stand: mild cheddar and mozzarella. I don't know what it is, but I cannot stand cheese in general. Like just the taste, the texture, just it was off-putting. And like Parmesan was the worst. Okay, because Parmesan's got this stuff in it called butyric acid. Butyric acid is what gives vomit its smell and taste. So for me, and I think this is genetic because my dad has the same problem. Parmesan to me smells like barf.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
That is
no. And keep in mind, I'm emetophobic. I have like a phobia of vomit. So yeah, there's no way in hell I'm touching that shit. So
I feel
it's
like as a rule of thumb, if anything smells like vomit, you shouldn't be eating it. But
well,
yeah,
no,
especially-
but like for a lot of people, they love Parmesan. I can't get close to this stuff. But just in general, I do not like cheese at all. And like the only thing I miss about cheese, because now that I'm lactose intolerant, is I can't eat pizza. If it wasn't for pizza, I'd have no use for cheese at all. I don't know what it is. I've tried various types, except for like mild cheddar, mozzarella, like the only 2 I could stand. I just cannot stand cheese in general. I can't. I find the taste revolting usually.
I've actually got a good friend of mine who he doesn't like cheese or sauce or condiments of any kind, and I'm just like, that's a life without pizza, though. Like that's
The dairy I miss the most is ice cream. I so miss ice cream.
That's what everyone misses if they are not like lactose intolerant when they're younger, and then they become lactose intolerant.
Yeah, it happened to me about a year or so ago. I started noticing that more and more when I would eat dairy, it would give me issues. So it's like, damn, I can't have ice cream, and I so fucking miss it.
You know, when I went to go visit Pencil with Flame last month, she took us to this really fancy cheese bar, and I sat down, not really knowing what to expect, and the chef who she knows. Okay, when I first walked in there, prior to my knowledge, Pencil had told the chef, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be bringing an idiot in here soon." So when I walked in, the chef behind the bar is already pouring a glass of alcoholic root beer, and he holds it up and he says, "All right, which one of you guys is the illiterate one?"
Good on you, Pencil. Good on you.
But speaking of the cheese, all right, so they handed us like slices of cheese, like little blocks of it, and the cheese was too fancy for me. Like, you know when stuff is too fancy where you don't like it, you like the simpler stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And like I tried to force myself to eat it all out of, not to be rude to this chef that Pencil personally knows.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I might have like been there with you. Like I've definitely had fancier cheeses that I didn't like. I'm not saying I would dislike all fancy cheeses, but I mean, you're talking to a guy like when I say vegetables slathered in cheese, what I actually mean is slathered in Velveeta, and I know a lot of people would like gut me for calling that cheese.
Oh yeah.
Cheese is cheese, regardless of what enzymes you use to break it down.
I'm sort of with Rav on this, except when I say cheese is cheese, that means I'm saying that negatively. Pretty much. but
We should all just make our own cheese.
It's not that hard.
It's really not.
My mom used to make goat cheese all the time, so I'm pretty familiar with how it's done.
how does goat cheese compare though? Like,
Um,
is there a difference in taste?
Very
Oh,
much.
there's a huge
There's a
difference.
huge difference.
It's pretty good.
It's very strong. So you like normal
Oh.
cheese, you can just eat it with crackers or whatever. But goat cheese is so strong that you can't eat like a lot of it, or you can't just sit down and eat just the cheese.
And it's not
Never
like a yellow
mind.
cheese. It's not like a cheddar. It's like mozzarella, but it has not a sharp taste like cheddar. It has a hard taste like Oh, I'm not a cheese fan here, so Pencil would be the better person to ask.
Oh, there's this one cheese that's strong that I eat sometimes, and it tastes a lot like goat cheese. It's not made
My-
with goat milk.
I don't know.
I would
I
say
don't-
Limburger, but I've never had it,
Oof.
so
I stay away from even back when I wasn't lactose intolerant. I stayed far away from like strong cheeses. My mom loves blue cheese.
oh god, blue cheese
Oh,
is so
God.
fucking nasty.
Yeah, it
I
is.
know it is. Like the smell. The smell is still not as bad as Parmesan for me, but still, like blue cheese has a strong smell. And
Well,
like,
Weird texture.
No, Swiss. Think of the very, very tart taste of Swiss.
mm,
Goat cheese is a little bit like that, but it's more gamey, I guess you'd call it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
It's also got like a very soft texture to it.
Oh yes.
Surprisingly, like you eat it, like I just remember opening a package of goat cheese for the first time because I was making a soup. The recipe called for it, and it was just like it almost fell apart. It was like melted butter almost.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you make it, it's
Yeah.
cheese.
Except I'm not big on cottage cheese either. I used to have
Oh,
a
I'm
lot.
not.
It's one of those things that our mom like tried to get us to eat because I guess I think at the time, you know, back in the 90s, it was supposed to be one of the superfoods. I think that's been disproven,
Yeah.
but
Cottage cheese is just shit in general.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
I mean,
Not my favorite.
Gotta hate cheese?
I think one of the things that really got me from a young age to hate cheese, and to be fair, I haven't tried a great deal of cheese, is when I was young, pretty much most of the cheese in our house was American cheese. And
Oh yeah,
I
same.
hated that shit so much. And I think that's part of the reason why I just kind of grew up having an aversion to cheese. But, you know, later on, I did try other varieties. And like I said, pretty much except for mild cheddar or mozzarella, I couldn't tolerate it. Just, I don't know exactly what. No, I'm shit talking cheese, Pencil. Not everyone else, just me. But just, I don't know what it is in general, but I don't know if it's just something with my taste buds, but I don't know how to describe it. But unless it's a really mild flavor of cheese, like almost non-existent. I don't like.
She says
I
she's feeling
don't.
attacked right now. Shut up, Tony.
Yeah, I know. I'm shit. Okay.
To quote Pencil, I just came here to have a good time, and honestly, I'm feeling really so attacked right now. Let's move on to our next topic,
Yes, we shall.
which is
Okay.
advantages as an artist in animation over still art.
Let me explain what I meant by that. Is like if you're
No, Tony. We have moved on.
no, I'm trying to
Oh,
explain
he's
what
gonna
I
shit
meant.
talk cheese again.
It
Quick.
needs to be justified.
We're not shit talking cheese
No,
anymore.
I'm not talking about cheese. I'm trying to explain. I just looked over what I posted, and it seems kind of ambiguous. What I was trying to go for is like, you know, as an artist, what is the advantages of using animation over like still?
Well,
Yeah, okay,
kind of
that's
obvious,
correct.
Movement. That's a good one.
Yeah, movement. I mean, so
Gifts.
Then you're really quiet.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sitting here like just trying to go over the words. I mean, my mic's on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you moved away from it quite a ways, though.
Oh, my bad. So some advantages that you have for animation, like I suppose, like for what I'm doing right here in the stream, it's not that different from what I think other like vector artists would be doing. Like it's almost a digital art kind of question.
Hmm.
But one thing that I think you can do is like there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that you don't necessarily know about. There are stuff and layers that are hidden from view that you might not experience with other artwork. You just kind of have to work with perspectives. Whereas, like with animation and digital art, you can be like, I can build, like if we take this changeling here, I can build his body such that you can't see his neck at the moment, but if I make his head disappear, you can see exactly how much neck that I've given him. And it's like I can decide, okay, a head comes out this way, a head goes up that way. I can have more realistic proportions by already knowing what the limits of the body are, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
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 You are all shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, into the difference with the real difference you get from animation versus still art is with animation
Sure.
you are giving, I would say, more depth to a character than you would have otherwise.
Oh yeah.
I mean, with still art, you have to tell a story in one frame. It's like the piece that I'm working on right now. It's pretty obvious what's going on. If I got rid of the background and everything, you wouldn't know why the hell she's riding a broom. It's supposed to be a Halloween piece. So the background is what is telling. The background is what is adding that sense of place, that sense of feeling. Now, if it were to be animated, you wouldn't need a background so much as you would need maybe extra props. Like at some point, I'm going to add a witch hat and a cape to her.
Right.
And at that point, you wouldn't need a background. You would already know why she's riding a broom.
Well, and then apart from that, even just how they move is such a big factor in it as well. Like it's got to have a little bit of personality to it. Like you
Well,
can just
yeah.
watch the show and you see the way Pinkie Pie, like the way she bounces to and fro. Like that says so much about her personality, or the way Rarity's kind of strut goes down. Like it all means and matters so much into bringing that character to life. Like it's more than just body language.
Or it's
that you-
even a tick. Like
Yeah.
something that they do without realizing they do it. Like my tick is I bounce my knees a lot, or my heel, whichever you want to say. And that's one of my ticks. So a character showing that tick is what makes them feel more natural.
Yeah.
So, or for example, and this is more of a character trait than a tick, but in the show House, his limp became Hugh Lowry. When he was practicing for the show, he practiced off the set of the show with that cane to get that walk down, and now he has to be careful not to do it anymore because he did it for so long. It's actually becoming a tick. Or
I get that completely.
or what's it? I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who played Monk.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking
yes.
about.
Yeah, like his thing of using hand wipes to wash his hands after he touches everything.
Yeah.
The actor gained a portion of that after playing that role, so he's not like super obsessive about it like he is when he plays the character, but he is much more aware of how clean his hands are after that, and that is becoming a personal tick of his, whether he needs it or not. Or another personal tick of mine, my ears are gauged. I have to every so often put my fingers up there to make sure that the little rubber O-rings on the back are still on there and I haven't lost them. That's become a tick. So
Okay.
it adds character. Everything you do adds character to yourself. Other people will notice your ticks before you do. So you have to add ticks to the characters, and in animation, that is so much more important than in a still drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's because, I mean, think about it. How are you supposed to really express ticks in a still drawing, though?
Right. Exactly.
You
Or like,
can if you know that the character has a tick. Otherwise, it's just a pose.
or you know what? Another thing is like, I had to learn this early on. You have to make sure that your characters blink every so often, or they start getting kind of robotic.
Oh yes, and you cannot do it in intervals either. You have to make it random.
Hmm. Yeah, it can't be too timed or anything.
No.
But there's just so much that goes into making sure that a character feels more than just a puppet getting strung along.
Well, yeah, and honestly, I can see how that could sort of be a challenge, I guess, in animation. Because if I could see, like, if everything's very calculated, it seems artificial. You know, it won't seem like it's the character themselves. Versus things going more, I guess you could say, naturally or random, maybe without pattern.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That could actually add. I could see how that could add character itself and be a huge advantage for animation over still drawings or still art.
It's also just easier to tell story in animation.
Oh God,
Oh,
is
yeah.
it ever?
Because if you were to do one giant painting, it may not tell a story and it may take you hours to even figure
Or
out what the painting was even made for. Or if you have someone making an animation, you're like, bam, I got the story, I'm done.
well, and that too. A still drawing is what's the word I'm looking for? Relative to the person viewing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not going to tell the same story to absolutely everyone. Depending on how much of an emotional connection you have to what's going on in the picture, will really kind of tell what that character is doing to you, whether it's something that you've experienced or something that somebody else that you've seen them experience. It's completely different.
Mhm.
Right, and I can see in certain ways how that could actually be advantageous. Um, but then I can see there's definitely certain contexts where that would be a huge disadvantage, and having that, I guess you could say, unambiguity from an animation would probably help considerably.
Yeah.
I know it's going back a bit, but what you said about blinking, I'd never
Yeah.
even thought about that before. But yeah, it's
Oh
something
yeah.
you just don't notice it, just like in real life,
Actually,
I suppose. But it would look so
you know what
odd.
the hardest thing to do actually is, I've come to find out, and I have to constantly remind myself to go back and do this, is when a character moves, you have to make sure that their hair has a little bit of bounce to it. And you can watch the show. I'm like obsessed with watching for this in the show now. But like every movement they have, even just a head nod, or maybe they'll be talking and they shift the way they're standing.
Oh,
The hair's got a small bounce to it,
Yeah.
and the hair doesn't stop moving when the character stops moving. Like it has to naturally come to rest on its own. There's
I've got one.
just a little bouncing pattern that it goes through, and it's so hard to keeping track and making sure that happens appropriately.
Okay, I have the perfect example. Not necessarily as a small thing, but I was really, really impressed when I saw this in the movie. And don't worry, this is spoiler free. In the first, I'm gonna say 10 minutes, when Twilight is talking to the other princesses, watch her eye movement. It is so natural, and it's only moving as if she's looking between the faces of the other ponies that are there. I love that bit of animation so much.
Yeah, spatial awareness is another big one.
Yes, I love it. All right, hair bounce is great. actual body movement of simulating flesh, wonderful, but eyes actually following what they're supposed to be following, how they would follow it naturally, is so much better.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's actually a really big thing, because that honestly, that would give a sense of their, actually communicating with people with their eyes are following us. They should be natural.
Yeah, so I know, like, so the Flash that I'm working on, when I went through its first big rework, I would say, when I kind of figured out, there was a point where I finally figured out, it's like, okay, this is how, like, the animation should work. This is how it should look. And I went back and I started reworking the eyes. I reworked the eyes so that the eyes weren't a static symbol either. Like, the pupils grow and shrink, and they move based on what side of the head that they're on to give the eyes a little bit more depth and roundness. And I remember, like, showing the updated stuff to Priest, and, like, he was just like, instantly, it's like, holy crap, like I can tell in the eyes that it's much better. And I had not even mentioned that I worked on the eyes. That was just like the very first thing that he noticed. It's little stuff like that where you really can tell where the art and the effort is to bring the things to life.
You don't need to make it to where it's ridiculous. Like, if you watch some animes and they have the girls' titties bouncing like rapidly, there's a point where you need to stop.
There is a point. Every time I see that, I want to say it's like somebody's parodying themselves, but you never quite know for sure.
And like, another thing that I noticed when I've been playing Super Mario Odyssey recently is every time Mario gets a moon in the game, and he jumps up with Cappy, his nose actually has a little bounce to it. So if you go and watch his little animation that he does whenever he gets a moon and he does his little dance with Cappy, you can actually see his nose bounce. So I thought that was, like, really cool, because they don't have to do that. The nose could technically be static, but just adding that little nose wiggle, it makes Mario feel more realistic.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it would have been better if you could notice his hair moving, because I've never seen it.
Well, I think the reason that they do that, though, is because they're still basing it around the original, like, 3D Mario that they had, and they don't want it to where it moves a lot. It does move a little bit, but it doesn't get out of its basic clumps, because they still want to keep it in the basic clumps and not look like real hair. Because real hair, you can just throw your hand through it, and it completely changes what it would look like.
Oh, I know. I mean more so just kind of the same thing with the nose. He's got curly hair. All it would need is just a little bit of jiggle physics. Not even all that much, just a teeny tiny bit, and it would look so much more natural, like he had actual hair. Not, Sculpey on his head.
Are we talking about gender reverse Mario with bounce?
Oh, God.
God,
When do you ever fucking pay attention?
Mario tits.
Never.
All I heard about Mario was that if he's got curly hair and that the carpet matches the drapes.
No,
I didn't even hear the carpet matches the drapes part. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's another cool thing that I was watching a YouTube video on, particularly animation in video games, and they were 5 big tips for animators, right? Mm-hmm. And the one I found the most interesting, and it's the one that stuck with me the hardest, is making your characters stretch, and not even just with jiggle physics. I mean, like, you watch a standard character animation of them walking, they're pretty stiff. But you look at 2 different versions of them jumping. The one that does not stretch will be the one that looks the most unnatural. whereas the
Right.
one that stretches because we, there's a term I'm looking for and I can't remember.
No, I know what you're
It's
talking about though.
yeah, it's like watching the frame rate on a screen. Any live action, whatever, you're gonna see that frame rate whether you notice it or not, and that stretch is what makes the motion seem more real.
Also,
I have a
that's
great
actually
example right here, actually. So I have this GIF from the show where the changelings are pounding into the dome around Canterlot during the wedding.
Nice.
So you can Google this, actually. There's like 11 concepts in animation, and squash and stretch is one of them, and it's so important.
Oh
You-
yeah, I
Here.
actually just got finished taking that class for my education.
Oh,
Nice.
fantastic. So you probably know more
Yes.
about this than I do, even. Why am I the guest? No,
I've
so-
only been working on this for like a year, and I'm not that great at it. So you're
I'm not
10
either.
times better than I
I-
am, because I haven't even gotten to the point that you're at right now.
I'm entirely self-taught, and I've been doing this for coming up on 5 years now. So, and
Yeah,
I still don't even have
that's
my
the
one video
exact
finished.
GIF. That where
But,
it shows
yeah,
the
so-
squash and stretch.
But yeah,
It's
you can see if I go back and forth here, like especially on that one right there, you can see his legs going, and then when he comes back up in the air, there's a quick stretch while he's rising, and then there's another stretch as he goes right back down to it, and then smack squashes, and he comes back up again. And you can also look up if you guys remember the double rain boom animation from a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So it was made. I think his name was like Flamingo 1989 or something like that. But he actually has some really good tutorials for going over some really basic stuff like squash and stretch and roll and all this other sort of stuff. Where it's like, actually a really big one is what do they call it? If I were to make a tween here, ease. Ease is another big one.
yes,
But there's a
ease
lot of
really
there's
big
a
one.
lot of stuff. You can make an object move from one end of the screen to the other, but to make it move realistically, make it feel like it's a living thing and that it has weight and all this other sort of thing takes so many more little intricacies.
It really is, and it's just like when you see a ball bounce like in animation, if you were to have the ball stay the same shape the entire time, it would make it look very unrealistic. Even if you've like shaded it and everything, it would still look really unrealistic. When you use the squash and stretch properties of like stretching it when it's going towards the floor and then squashing it whenever it hits the floor and then making it stretch again, it actually gives it more life. It makes it seem more realistic. That's what I was taught.
Yeah, you can say so much with, how heavy is it? What is it made out of? Is it alive? Is it inanimate? Is it going through water? Is it going through sand? There is so much thought and detail that can go into something as simple as move this from A to B. Just absolutely 100%.
I love when people say that animation's easy.
No,
I,
I was hoping it would be easy when I started this thing, and it is really not.
Of course
no,
not.
I mean, I grew up with a lot of old cartoons and old movies, and I absolutely love cartoons and animation. That's one of the reasons I love My Little Pony so much. I mean, granted, I absolutely hate Flash animation because most of it is retardedly cheap. But I'm honestly very, very impressed with the level of detail and the lengths that they go to in the show. Even the early episodes, which are, in terms of quality, not as good as what we're getting now, but still, for Flash animation, it is exceptional. And like I said, I grew up with a lot of old movies and old animations, so I love hand-drawn stuff.
Oh yeah,
You know, I opted out. I opted out of becoming an animator. I can't stand tediously drawing and redrawing and redrawing an image, and that's saying something coming from somebody who, for a long time, was tracing to get good at art.
Yeah.
And you'll probably be able to jump on board with me on this, Ben. But I got one word: Cuphead.
Yes. I have not played it, but I have watched plenty of videos. I have so much respect for what those guys have been able to do.
Oh, so
Oh
much,
yeah.
so much.
Have you ever
So.
seen a rundown of like just how many like frames of hand-drawn animation are like in a single enemy's attack?
Oh God,
It is
yeah.
nuts, just the level of heart and
It's like
detail put
it.
into that game.
Isn't it like up to 100 frames more for just one attack, depending on the attack?
Well, I
Depending
never
on-
saw anything on the attacks. The one I remember are their idle animations, because they started out with the simple 2, then bumping it up to 4, then to 8, then to 16, and then to 32. But I never got any information about the attacks. I'm actually really interested to find out how many frames are in the attacks.
Mhm.
Go look it up. There's probably some sort of video out there for it. So
I've heard that there are videos out there.
I don't know, I used to do a lot of hand-drawn animation in the corner of my exercise books. Stick men killing each other.
I
I
don't
was
know.
about
Those
to
are
be
so
like
impressive.
super duper impressed
What?
until you said like, oh, in my school books.
Yeah, then you flip through the book and it's like, oh.
Yeah, no, flip note kind of thing. I remember doing that sort of thing as well, and I just didn't have the patience for it.
I don't either. I honestly prefer it like because I've recently had to take a class where I had to like hand draw on like paper all of my frames, and I hate it because I can't use like an onion skin or anything. So it pisses me off because I want my everything to stay the same, but I can't do that without having like a light box or anything like that.
And like part of the reason I started experimenting with Flash, like we went through the whole Macromedia suite, and that kind of dates both myself and the software that I'm using. The fact that it's Macromedia Flash and not Adobe. But we just like did a real quick thing back in high school, and I'm actually using the same disk that was installed on all that stuff. A friend of mine, his dad, like did all the tech stuff, and when I was starting to get into digital art, he was like, "Here, like I want you to have this, make some cool shit with it." So that's why I still use that. For anybody watching, if you want to get into animation, don't use Macromedia Flash 2004. It is painfully out of date. I'm just cheap.
But
But
if
I
you
got
guys
into
are
it.
cheap too, you might as well use it and learn how to use it.
Might as well if you can find his copy. The
Oh,
like the
I can tell you a
keys are
couple
all
of
available
sources,
online
but
for free. But I got into it because I felt that it was much easier for me to make something digitally and then move it rather than hand draw everything and go frame by frame. So
Yeah.
like we again like look at the changeling that I've got here. I take his head. We're gonna decapitate him. Boom! I put a keyframe there and a motion tween there, and well, I guess I got to move the head to show movement. There. Now his head moves all the way over there, and like that's 20 some frames. Like that would have taken forever and a half to hand draw that if I felt so inclined. And now I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. Bloop, bloop, it's gone. I didn't do it right. Bloop, clear keyframe. It's gone.
Yeah.
That much to
Dead.
erase it was just instant. So anything hand drawn, it's like you got to have that much more respect for it.
Oh yeah. No, like I could see how difficult and time consuming that must have been.
I hate it when people are like, "Oh, cup the heads isn't a big deal. That they just hand draw it. Don't they hand draw everything?" It's like, no,
No.
no.
Not like that. Not anymore.
no. I mean, I thought it was impressive when I saw the technology that Disney is using now to do 3D and 2D, and using that to somehow enhance their
Oh
animation.
yeah.
You know, it's
Like when they
really
first started-
cool, but
they
it
first started
has
doing it with, like,
nothing on hand animation. I mean,
Yeah.
hand is you're a real expert, a real professional when you can hand draw an entire animation with absolutely no help from a computer.
And really, I mean, that's the basics. You can definitely see
Well,
where
other than to put it into like an actual animation. You
Yeah.
can't just do that without any technology whatsoever.
But I mean, it's really just learning the basics too. Like if you are going to be an animator, you've got to learn how to do it by hand. Because even though I have all of this stuff here to help me out with that and fill in the gaps and everything, like there are a lot of times I still have to go in frame by frame in order to get something to look right.
Yeah, well, it's I know we've spent a long time on this topic, but it is a genuinely interesting topic. Um, the YouTuber Two Snacks and his animations.
Oh god, yes, I love those things.
Yes, I find it so interesting how his animations got remarkably better when he jumped over to a 3D program for a while, had to learn all about these different kinds of nodes and I'm going to call them restrictions. They're really constraints, but I know what he had to do that because I've tried to do it myself in rigging a model. And I find it's so interesting that he got so much better with his normal Flash animations after learning about 3D. So, it just kind of reinforces the fact that even if you switch over to something that you're not used to, but is slightly similar to what you're already doing, you can still come back to what you like to do or what you were originally doing and bring back skills to it to make it so much better.
Oh yeah.
But also, you have to remember you're only one person. You're not gonna get this done really quickly.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, I mean,
understand it's going to take time.
I would
Oh,
like
yeah.
to
You're gonna
reiterate
spend hours on this.
that in January will mark the 5th year since I broke ground on this specific animation, and it's ultimately going to be 6.5 minutes long, I think, when it's finished.
Nice.
Wow.
5 years for 6.5 minutes, and I'm still not all that close to done, if I'm going to be right honest with myself.
The only reason that movies are produced so quickly is because they have teams of animators that are in sometimes the hundreds.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
some
the
animators are specifically to do one thing. Like if you go look at the movie Brave, for Merida's hair, they had an animator for each individual curl of her hair.
Mhm.
So remember, you are only one person, so don't expect to get out everything that you want to do.
No,
Well,
Does
and
take
most of the stuff within the fandom, like the really big things, like you look at like Alligator Tub or like the Silly Philly Studios, like stuff like that. There are a lot of people working on those. Not hundreds, but definitely a couple dozen. And
Well, and to
they've got
realize
sorry.
well, I just kind of want to get this out before I forget. The animation Lullaby for a Princess was completed in 1 year by how many animators? I think there were no more than 6.
Yeah, but
So
they were
they
also
took a
probably working
lot
on
of personal sacrifices for that. So,
Yeah,
if you
'cause-
want to do it
They also
fast.
had a Patreon and way more time than I've got.
If
Oh,
you're
yeah.
gonna end up animating as like a hobby instead of a actual job, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, and actually, so my very first BabsCon, I bumped into Animated James and I poked his brain a little bit, and I told him what I was working on and my ambitions with it, and he basically was just like, you're nuts. You're doing it wrong. Like you need to start small and then work your way up to the big stuff. And I would definitely recommend the same. Don't do anything that I did.
They were just telling him, I got this big plan and I'm gonna do all this and this, and he's just like, no. Yeah, just
Also,
stop.
just be proud of your small accomplishments. Like
Mhm.
my first animation, of course, was a ball bouncing across the screen. And be proud of yourself because that's you learning every step to becoming a better animator or a better drawer.
Oh
You
yeah.
should be proud of yourself.
I love
And
going back to my early stuff and just constantly making it better.
Oh God, I hate going back to my earlier stuff.
and encourage your family and friends to encourage you. 'Cause if you really are passionate about art or you're really passionate about animating, go do it. Let them, cheer you on.
Yeah.
'Cause it is hard work, and there are going to be times where you're like, man, fuck this. I can't
yeah.
do this. But once you get something done that's like awesome, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
I am greatly looking forward to that day. I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah. You figure too. Another thing, just to kind of keep in mind, the difference between 2D animation and 3D animation. 3D animation doesn't take as much time, only because you can set two poses at the end of a certain set of keyframes, and then have the computer figure out the spaces in between and you
Right.
adjust it. It is
There
so
are-
much different.
There are programs that do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it in Blender. You just, what you can do is you can attach, sorry, this is getting technical. You can attach one of the nodes on, say, a hand, and then make a Bezier curve from point A to point B in the animation, and then adjust it. You know, your animation can follow preset guidelines to make them smoother. You can do an animation of a single action in a half hour or less, depending on how big the move is. You know, and that's just for a game. That's just like a sword swing in a game. It doesn't take much at all. Versus if you have to hand animate that, oh god, every frame has to be perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Next
And you-
topic.
Go ahead.
Ooh,
Yeah.
apparently that was a
Alright.
big topic.
It was a really good topic. No Shave November.
Currently in the process of it. It's the first time I've done one in a couple of years. Let's see, because last year I didn't do it because I was doing a cosplay where I wanted to be clean shaven. I might have done it the year before that. I had a really solid one in college, but looking forward to see how this one comes out.
I always do No Shave November, whether I plan on or not. Yeah, it's just, hey, it helps when it gets cold, you know.
Yeah.
I never follow it because I have a skin condition, particularly on my face, where when my beard starts to grow out real long, or not even real long, but when it actually starts to really grow out, I get something very, very close to acne, and it's really bad. It itches, it weeps, and I can't stand it. So I have to keep my facial hair short. There's no two ways about it.
Well, look, you got enough ball hair to make up. So there you go.
Yeah, I've got enough arm hair to make up for it. Let's be real here.
Enigma's got even more.
I actually beat Enigma in terms of body hair.
Ooh, damn. Okay.
Who's beating my ball hair?
Wait, you had a contest.
Who here dares challenge my ball hair?
Me.
Rav,
I've seen you without your shirt on. You got nothing on me.
You see me without my shirt?
How could he see?
Yeah,
guys
didn't
in
you
between
change
my
clothes
legs.
at least once at the hotel?
Why were you ogling me during that one time?
You walked out of the
Like
bathroom. It's not
he
my
would
fault.
Fucking ogle you, you cunt.
Why didn't you take any pictures? Oh god, that's really weird. I'm sorry.
One time I take off my shirt and you happen to notice.
Yeah.
Strange.
Unlike you,
Hey.
Enigma, I'm observant.
Yeah, you just observe it. Mm-hmm.
I
Sorry,
think my
Enigma's
beard
not
is
my
coming
type.
in quite nicely.
You're growing beards at the end of your flesh limbs?
I still have a head. I may not have
Yeah, she
just
still has a
limbs, but I
jaw,
still
so,
have a
you know.
head.
Seventh hasn't replaced her head yet with a flashlight, okay?
No. Sadly, he loves my mouth in more ways than one.
I'm sure
we
he
kind of
does.
figured.
All right, next topic. The merits of prostitute.
Merits of
I like this topic.
merits of prostitutes.
You like this topic, huh, Enigma?
They're warm.
Is this
You
a
know-
familiar topic to you? I mean, professionally,
It's sort,
the art whore?
it's,
Well,
it sort of sounded like,
whatever.
it's the way it's phrased, it kind of sounded like the element of prostitute. Like that's one of the elements of harmony.
You mean rarity?
No.
Well, I mean, it could be the element of peace. Make love, not war.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'll make love instead of war if you pay me.
There has never been a better pursuit for money, so, you know.
They do call
Prostituting was
prostitution.
legal, and I knew I wouldn't get caught. Maybe I'd do it. I don't know.
Well, they do say prostitution is like the world's oldest occupation, so.
Right.
It's the oldest profession, to my knowledge.
You know, I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
kinda-
surprised.
It kind of is.
Well, I mean, look. You're all pent up. You come home from war. Damn straight you're going to want a prostitute.
How could you come home from work if that was the only work back then? When it was first-
War.
Actually, have you guys ever
I
heard
said
about
war.
that? Have you guys ever heard about that research where they introduced the concept of money to a pack of chimpanzees,
Oh yeah.
and then later on, with that, they started prostituting themselves?
yeah.
Wait, for
yeah,
real?
yeah,
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty fucked up.
just like even chimpanzees know how shit goes down, okay?
Well, okay.
I feel like we're
To be-
struggling
to
to
be-
find the merits here.
Well,
Prostitution is natural.
hold on. To be real here, chimpanzees are a rape culture, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So prostitution comes naturally, along with a couple of other things. So
Look,
All right.
the merits.
come naturally.
Let's move on from prostitutes. That other guy
I
says,
come
"Hey,
naturally.
Hey.
No, refresh. He
So, beaches.
oh, did he say something else?"
yeah.
There's a picture that says, "How does this make you feel?"
Oh,
my
okay.
God, what
see,
is it?
That's well, it's disturbing.
What is
You
that
know,
even?
Halloween is past. You're a bit late for this, dude.
Yeah.
2 out of 10 for being so fucking late.
God, it
Quite
Check your
makes me feel like
calendar.
my grandfather's ghost is upset with me.
Your grandfather
What?
like that?
He was a sheep herder.
He's a,
He looks like a sheep.
I mean, like I grew up around sheep. Like
a pregnant
And that's-
sheep.
Great,
like,
because there's a
you're-
phone call. I missed the conversation about this fucking fetus sheep.
no, we're in that right now, actually.
Yeah.
As we're talking about the merits of sheep fetus,
No.
they make a good currency. I'm not gonna lie.
What's that?
God,
Oh,
it's
God.
Just, that's disturbing.
What's that food called?
You should know.
Veal?
Is it? It's where
No,
you eat
veal.
an-
Veal is cow. Veal
That's
is cow.
That's a baby calf.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's some kind of a food where
Mutton.
you know when they take the cow off to slaughter, it's usually pregnant, and then they use the unborn baby for some kind of a food. I don't remember what it's called.
Veal.
No, veal is cow.
No.
Sounds nice. Either way.
Yeah, cow fetus, dead cow.
Cow
fetus.
abortion.
My favorite.
Let's
my,
not
my
talk
favorite
about
delicacy.
calibration and
My
let's
favorite
move on.
delicacy.
Speaking
Well,
of
I
cow
mean,
abortion,
we use dead kittens for currency. I mean, come on.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, look,
you know,
cattle
speaking of
abortion.
speaking of cow abortion, I remember there was a conversation a long time ago.
How do you
I
start
think it was
anything with speaking of cow abortion?
Only
there was
Enigma,
this
bro.
There was this conversation. I think I had it with Priest, and he brought up the fact that horses can abort themselves with sheer will.
Wow.
I think I remember him talking about that. Yeah.
Oh
Actually,
yes,
that-
yes.
That was back when he was working on the story with Ruby. What was it called? The Diamond Dog.
Oh, that one.
I'm aware of it, but I am aware of what story you're talking about. I haven't read it yet, though.
Oh, it's really good.
Okay. That was like early on in he and I's friendship.
I mean, Town Bike is a great story.
All right.
But can't
Not
humans
enough.
do that too, though, if they just smoke and drink enough? Okay, that was horrible. I'm sorry.
So-
Carry on.
Yeah.
Or
Hey.
does the mother just enlist in a football game?
Oh yeah, what was
Back-
that?
No, it's just
Oh,
like that
God.
skit in Family Guy with the Mexican Planned Parenthood. They just take baseball bats and beat her like a pig.
I don't
Okay.
want any part of what you guys are putting down right now.
That's why I'm trying to
Hey.
move on.
You signed up for this. You know
Not
full
enough.
well we're depraved.
Not
Yeah,
enough
well,
coffee
well.
says, "Hey, I like that animation you did with Octavia and Vinyl. Mutual
Oh.
friend Alex showed me not too long ago, and I adored it. Has best
Well-
pony after all."
Well, much appreciated. Not enough coffee. I'm still trying to work on the rest of it. As you can see here, I'm assuming you're watching or might watch this later. I'm not sure which pony you're talking about, but I know it's the right one. Both Vinyl and
are they-
Octavia, I enjoy working with. They were also my first fan fiction. So
This is Octavia. He
Yeah.
loves Octavia.
Is he talking about the animation where we were talking about earlier, where I said I had no idea what the fuck was going on?
yeah,
Probably because you never know what the fuck is going on.
Oh, God. I just found something.
Oh, no,
boy.
Ravvij,
Oh
no.
boy.
I was trying to
Oh,
remember
boy.
the name of the food, and Enigma's right. It is veal. But I came across another one. It's a dish from Indian cuisine, and it's pronounced kutai pie.
Put it in bug shots.
Yeah, post
Yeah.
it, please.
Yeah, I will. Okay, copy link.
Alex,
You
It's a
can really
dish
t-
from Anglo-
you can re-
consisting of the flesh of an unborn fetus from an animal, usually goat.
Alex, what is wrong with your people?
you can really taste the abortion.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Alright.
here's a wiki link. Okay, we'll move on.
So, not enough coffee's first question is advice for those going into animation or just trying to test the water.
Well, a couple of things I said earlier. Don't use Macromedia Flash 2004 if you can avoid it. But really, like, do your research beforehand. Like don't dive right on into it. See if you can look up. I forget if it's like 11 or 13 or what it is, but like the basic principles of animation. Make some really robust puppets, and by puppets I mean like what I'm working on in the stream right here, where you have all these different layers and all these different parts. The more layers and parts you have, the easier it will be for you to animate, because you can rotate and move things more individually that way. Because when I started out, like all of this stuff was just on the stage all at the same time, and if I wanted someone to walk across the room, I had to move their head, and I had to move their body, and I had to move their legs, and I had to make sure that they all moved at the same rate, the same number of pixels. And don't do that. Make robust puppets, and make sure that all the layer names are memorable and organizable. But I also say that as somebody who likes to be organized.
Honestly, I would say do that for any artwork. Name your layers.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's static artwork, it doesn't have to be animation. Name your fucking layers.
Um,
Don't even question me. Name them. even if it's something as stupid as, hair or toenails or something like that that helps you remember this is on this layer.
Right.
Because that will fuck you in the end and screw up your artwork, and you don't want that.
But, in the end, as with anything, you kind of just got to get in and try it. You got to experiment with a little bit of, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just give it a go, see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ravage,
What?
Yeah.
would you like to shill since it's time for the
Oh
shilling?
god, no, hi.
Oh yes, it is. It is time for the shilling. Okay, shill, barcast. Okay, no, but for real. Yeah, any of you still watching? And I know there aren't that many of you. If you would feel so inclined to donate to the Barcast Patreon, because none of it is profit for us. We send it all off to the Red Wings Horse Sanctuary in California, the city I don't remember, or probably ever will. Yeah, we're supporting one whole horse, all of his food and shots and all that other fun stuff. I still have no word on whether or not we got a letter or when it's supposed to come. It is also a horse rescue sanctuary, and I mean, I would imagine the long-term end goal is we would be able to support more than one horse at some point. Or, if you're feeling really generous, you can donate to the Patreons of the people on here because, hey, guess what? We want money too. No, just kidding. We could really use
No.
it though. Anyways,
Seriously.
Not kidding that hard.
Just wire all your money to my bank account.
Yes, please.
I swear it's going to be put to a good cause and not at all.
I'm tired of being a prostitute because I have like 5 fleshlights.
yeah, she's like ultimate gangbang, really.
Yeah, hey, that just...
It's not a spit roast. It's a, it's a freaking spider nest.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no!
Hey, that just
Kill
means
me
more
now.
money. That just means more money. More at the same time, more money.
All
Okay.
right.
Enough
Next
shilling.
topic. Coffee says favorite thing to draw.
Penises.
Ooh.
Yes,
I'm gonna
dick.
try to surprise people and not say pun, but actually, like back in the day, I used to draw a lot of comics in high school about me and my friend and all the different video games that we played. And I had some others with some characters that I had developed over the years that were not. But I think I like drawing like stupid, goofy expressions. Like I like having those little character moments where they've gone crazy or they're super pissed off or something that just you really get to stretch the limits of what looks natural on something's face. That to
So,
me
like the Twilight and the Want It Need It spell.
Or
that is my favorite
that's
episode, and I think that might be a lot of the reason why that's my favorite episode.
Or do you like that SpongeBob face when he finds out the Squidward likes Krabby Patties?
I more like the overtime face when he finds out that Patrick has been like living under the rock rather than taking care of their baby. It's like, so this is what I get for saying overtime. SpongeBob's just like, overtime, and he's like screaming with the teeth. That to me is funny.
You should be a voice actor. That was really good.
I've had an uncomfortable amount of time practicing my Patrick, actually.
Oh.
Firmly
Okay, we gotta
grasp
hear.
it.
We gotta hear.
I back in college, I had a group of friends who were constantly asking me to do the. So there's the one where Squidward says he owns a 5-star restaurant, and like Patrick is there for some reason. And Squidward is just like, can you take hats in a like decent and orderly manner or whatever? And Patrick's just like, you mean like a weenie? Okay. May I take your hat, sir? May I take your hat, sir? May I? And then Squitter puts his hand over his mouth. Like, all
Sort of
right,
sound like
I've
you were
seen
saying-
enough.
Sort of sound like you were saying, "May I take your cancer?"
I heard that as well.
Murder your answer.
Patrick the oncologist.
But yeah, when you find out that you can do a dumb cartoon character halfway well, you
Yeah.
wind up doing it a lot.
That's your most marketable skill, even more than animation.
I think I would enjoy like voice acting to give it a shot. Like I have a thorough respect for voice actors.
Yeah.
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 All right. Coffee asks, favorite style of art and why?
Oh, favorite style of art.
Ooh.
I actually really enjoy like the old Greek statues. I don't know why. I don't know if it's
Because
just
they're all
the
naked.
way they
Yeah, the
capture
big
human
naked
body.
man. Yeah, I was gonna say he
Dick.
likes the naked men.
Dicks everywhere.
Yeah.
If that's how you guys want to
Pious.
interpret it, I won't stop you. I think you're wrong.
It's
We're
just
wrong.
us joking. I know
mean,
that there's more
only-
to it.
Just the way that they're able to capture like the human body, the range of motion, and how sometimes you look at those things and it's like the way they have like silk draped over like curves and points and everything, and it's like they took solid stone and made something look like see-through cloth. That is just extremely impressive, and I think just any kind of sculpting in general, because it doesn't necessarily have to be Greek. Like if you go to just some like old churches in Europe that have statues outside and stuff, it's just really amazing what I think people were able to do with a chisel and a hammer. Because I look at that and I'm just like, I would fuck up one time and have to start all over again,
Yeah.
and I do not have the patience for
There's
that.
No.
no undo.
No.
You
There's
know,
no undo button.
Should we point out the fact that one of these naked statue men had a deformity where his dick looked like a leaf?
You understand the Romans did that, right?
Yeah, the Romans, they
No.
were plant people. They had leaves going all over the place.
No, the Romans were like, "Oh my God, naked people." So what they did was their like priests demanded that all of Greek art pieces were to be censored. So that's what they do.
I'm
I
still
didn't know
mad that
Priest was immortal and he was a prude back then.
Yeah.
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 Priest was always a prude,
Shows
okay?
up
Totally.
all across time.
I'm still just mad that like Romans
Fucking
felt
pencil.
so uppity about themselves that they're just like, yeah, we're gonna rename all the Greek gods. It's just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck up? Why would you do that?
Because they conquered Greece and they could do that because
They
fuck
didn't
you.
give any fucks at that point in time.
Clearly not, and
I mean-
that to me is
Hide
frustrating.
yo gods, hide yo statues. The Romans. Are
Look, they controlled, as far as they figured, they controlled pretty much half the fucking world, if not more.
Yeah,
So they didn't give a shit.
clearly not. I wish they did though. Just a little bit of a shit.
All right. So he says, now to ruin your day. So you see this
Beautiful.
person at the supermarket, and they are beyond beautiful. Everything about them is just perfect to you in your eyes. And just staring at them gives you a stiffy. Problem is that you end up having a full-blown orgasm in your pants, covering your once clean jeans with your herbs and spices. This happens every time you lay your eyes upon your newfound crush, sending you into a frenzy. You only know of one other option, and that is to neuter yourself or chop off your dick. It's the only way to stop your pleasure pole from destroying your favorite jeans. The question is, would you rather orgasm every time you saw your crush, or never have another orgasm?
I need to interject here. On the Barcast, and by extension on Mugshots, killing yourself is always an option.
First of all, question like, is this like I look at them and then there's the orgasm, or like for the duration I look at them, there's just like a constant stream?
I would
Oh,
say
God,
the
that would
moment
be
you look
terrible.
at them,
Like-
you orgasm and you kind of don't stop.
Yeah, that's terrible. It's like,
Good.
Why? Okay, then all you would really need is a camera and a picture of them, and you could disappear into your room for the rest of your very short life.
Yeah.
Very short. Could I just go to a different supermarket?
Well,
No.
if they live in
No,
the
this
same
is the
town, and
one-
if you live in like a small town like what I used to live in, and
No.
I
like
used to live in a
everyone goes to that same fucking supermarket, there's no way you can avoid them. Especially
No.
if you guys end up going every day on the same day.
see, Kyrie,
That's
what
just the thing,
actually,
like, I would start
what
going
actually
on a
happened?
different thing.
What actually happened is, also every other supermarket shut down spontaneously. So this is supermarket left.
But why do you have to cut off your dick? Couldn't you just gouge your eyes out so you can't see them?
Well,
That's another
because,
good point. That coffee,
you rather
you
lose
need to
your
light this
Coffee.
down.
That's what I do.
Coffee, you didn't think this shit through, man.
Well, I mean, you can always break your back in half and stab your eyes out with your own dick. I mean, at least then you get some kind of a lube.
Yeah.
Oh, please don't talk about that. You know how I am, and I swear to God, I'm gonna hurt you.
That
Looking
is
for love in all the wrong
effort right
places.
there.
Oh, God,
It's
man,
the
you're
one-eyed
fucking
snake,
terrible.
darling.
I fucking hate you. I hate you so much.
Jesus.
You don't know this, but my phobia is eyes. I have
I do
emetophobia.
know. Yes, I.
So eyes and talking about eyes and thinking of eyes freak me out,
People
and I
also have to wear-
fucking hate
Wait.
Ravvij because he posts those fucking gifs. Oh, and he tags me in them.
So Kyrie, you can
Rav.
never play. Kyrie, you can never
shit.
play. Kyrie, you can never place. You can never dunk your hand in a bowl full of peeled grapes.
Those don't look like eyes. Yesterday, I went to a friend's house and she had one of those like EOS lip balm things where it's like in a small circular tube, but it had like a black like sticker on the bottom, and I thought it was an eye, like an eyeball from Halloween, and I like almost freaked out and ran out of her house.
Do
Oh.
people have
So
to
like
wear
you don't do
sunglasses?
contacts or anything then?
I
Fuck.
can look in people's eyes because I think of them as circles and not eyes.
Jesus.
So, and
Sorry,
I also don't look at their eyes. I look in their nose.
Well, I mean, you could be like me and be partially deaf, and I watch people talk. I've tried looking people in the eye, but I still look back to their mouth because if I'm having trouble hearing them, I have to watch them talk.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like all of you guys have told me about some kind of phobia or another at this point.
I
Yep.
haven't.
Yeah.
We all have phobias except for Alex. Alex's phobia is being found out that he has porn of us.
What's my phobia? Because I don't really think I have anything.
You have a phobia of
People not drawing art for you.
No, wait. Now I remember what my phobia was.
I've made art for Enigma.
fucking.
I remember now what my phobia is.
Your phobia is being good.
No, it's high winds.
Are you fucking retarded?
Oh yeah, 'cause you
Little
said
bit.
it blows
This
you
is,
over.
this is a
No,
thing.
he's worried that the freaking tornado from the movie Twister is gonna carry him away.
Dude,
Oh,
you live
wow.
in
Sorta.
California. You don't get tornadoes in
Like the-
California.
Hey,
Wizard
I
of
was a
Oz.
little kid. I was a little kid. I saw the movie The Day After Tomorrow. I got freaked out by the windy scenes because when I exited the house that night, it was windy.
You're a puss.
Dude,
Yeah.
okay, I've lived in a place where they actually do get tornadoes.
Oh yeah, so have I. I lived in
Yeah.
Missouri for a while.
I live in Texas.
You mean misery.
Yeah, I know.
Missouri.
We did. We called it misery. We called it misery, and fucking the people that lived there got so pissed off that we'd call it that. And I'm like, dude, I'm from Colorado. This place is fucking misery. It's humid,
funny because when
hot, and when it's cold, it's actually cold. It feels colder than it should be. So, fuck your state. It's misery.
every
Misery.
time me and Seven go into Missouri, we automatically lose cell signal, and then he just starts cussing up a storm. He's like, "Fuck Missouri! Fuck this stupid ass state! I hate it! Why are we even going?"
Fuck Kern.
Feelings there.
Yes, fuck.
Oh. Oh, and here's another fun little fact. Rocks grow in Missouri.
Yes.
What? Rocks
What?
grow? Like
Trees.
chia pets?
Kind of, yeah.
Chia
So
pets.
the problem is with Missouri is that because it's so wet and because it's so humid, rocks come up out of the ground. No matter how many times you've de-rocked your yard, they still show up. So every summer, after the winters and whatnot is over, you have to go check your fucking yard again. We had 5 acres of land that we had to use a riding mower on, and my brother or I would have to walk in front of the mower with a stick or some shit to test the yard for rocks.
Was that where the Pinkie Pie's family's
Yeah.
rock farm?
Yeah, I was gonna say as well. Were they
Yeah.
growing the rocks?
Yeah.
Rav, question: did you guys have St. Augustine grass?
A
out there?
what?
St. Augustine grass. It's really thick blades and it grows really fucking fast. Like you would have to mow your lawn twice, if not 3 times a week.
I'm not
Oh,
sure,
awful.
but I remember one particular summer day. It was right after it rained, so it was hot and humid outside, and I was watching the grass grow.
Yeah, you
Like
could do that.
centimeter by centimeter, I was watching the grass grow, and it's like, motherfucker, I'm gonna have to go out and mow tomorrow.
Dude, okay, I
I've
grew
never heard
up.
that as
I
an
grew
actual
up.
thing before.
I grew up in Houston, and the grass out there grows really fucking quickly because of how humid and wet that shit is. Yeah, you could actually do that. You could actually watch the grass grow during the summer, and that stuff you would have to mow your lawn at least 3 times a week, and the blades were really thick, so it would fuck up certain types of mowers.
Oh yeah.
I re-
Well, even living in Colorado, I only have to mow my yard once a month. So, you know.
I remember when my sister was young and she would get in trouble, my mom would hand her a pair of scissors and tell
Oh,
her
God.
to go cut the lawn. But then after 5 minutes, she'd whine and complain to come back inside. And then my mom would let her come back inside. I'm like, no, let her do the whole fucking lawn. We had 2 acres worth of land.
There
That
is
was
actually
when
666 blades of grass at Sweet Apple Acres.
Oh God!
I was-
not
I was-
that.
I was an asshole kid. I was like, no, mom, make her do it all.
Damn.
Yeah.
And I thought I was an asshole kid. Fuck.
Well, I mean, I'm the kind of asshole that I would take my dad's loogie cup and chase my sisters around the house with it.
Dad had a loogie cup?
He was a smoker, so it wasn't just loogie, it was like lung gunk and shit. So,
Ooh.
oh, it was
I mean,
so
like,
much
So
fun
glad.
chasing my sisters through the house, watching them gag. Here, look, it's jiggling.
Hey, me, I was goddamn. See, I was nicer. I would just see when I was growing up in Houston, the house we had out there. There was a common bathroom or shared bathroom, what are you gonna call it? So the bathroom was in between my brother's room and mine, and there was 2 doors. There was quite a few doors, like one door leading off to each room. So at night, because my brother was like kind of afraid of the dark growing up, he would have the light on in the bathroom, and just the doors between our rooms would be open. So I would often sneak into his room, open up his nightstand, and just steal shit out of it all the time. And I did this for like years. I would just go into his room, sneak in, real quiet, open up the nightstand, take something out, and close and come walk back to my room, put it in my nightstand. And like my brother never figured it.
See, my brother and I, like, we have this like silent fight. I don't know how it got started or why it got started, He had a birthday cake with Ninja Turtles on it, and there was like a banner that came with it. And for whatever reason, I decided that I should have it. So I took it in my room and put it up with my things. And then sometime later, it was gone, and it was in his room with it and his things. And it just keeps going back and forth. And neither of one of us has ever said one word about it. And this has been going on for like probably coming up on 10 years here. Never once said a single word to one another about it. Just randomly is in the other one's bedroom at some point.
So, are you gonna bury yourself with it only for him to grave rob you for it?
No, I intend to have him die first.
I did something terrible to my sister several years ago. This was back when she believed in like fairy tales and stuff like that. So she believed that fairies were real.
Oh god.
So one day I was cleaning her room because it was just god awful. And when I had gotten done, I had thrown glitter around her room and I had wrote a little note saying it's from the cleaning fairy. And she believed it. She's like, Mama, look, the cleaning fairy came. And I was like, my mom played along with it because she knew it was me and, she thought it was harmless. Well, I hatched an idea to stay up till midnight when she's asleep and go into her room, sprinkle glitter on her, and leave a note saying that the sweet dreams fairy came and gave her sweet dreams.
Oh god.
Well, that ended up turning not so innocent because the fact that she told everyone at school that a fairy went to see her, and the kids at the school were making fun of her, and they were bullying her, and a teacher ended up calling my mom and telling her that, my sister believes in fairies and is telling everyone that a fairy came to her house. So my mom's like, you gotta fucking tell her that you're the one that did it, you piece of shit.
Sitcom.
Your mom has some strong language on her.
No,
Okay.
but my mom was like, you better tell her or I'm gonna, beat your ass.
This could have easily taken a dark turn if you just sprinkled a little glitter on her and left a note saying you've been visited by the cancer fairy.
I'm not that evil. And I was young
I would have just said
myself.
anthrax.
Jesus.
Like a note from the tooth fairy. Hey, you missed a tooth, bitch. Here's some anthrax.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, I was a very devious child.
That's okay. My brother would make me pay without him ever figuring out that I stole all that shit from him back later, because my brother had what they call the silver tongue.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Where you're able
like
to
that.
okay, yeah,
Talk
where
your
you're
way
basically
into and out of any situation.
oh god, he could do anything like that. But the best, he was like amazingly good at talking people into deals and shit. And I was being me, the generous, gullible me. I've lost count of how much shit because my brother was terrible. I was always the frugal. Like I would save my money up and shit. My brother wasn't. He would spin through everything so fucking fast. There would be something he would want, whether it's a game or a console or whatever, and he wouldn't have enough money for it. God, he would just be like, okay, Tony, let's do this. Let's go in like 50-50, or sometimes I would actually pay more than he would. And he's like, oh, dude, you get to use it when you want, blah, blah, blah. And I do it, and then he'd hog it. Like, dude, my parents, at some point, my mom was like, okay, should we tell him? He's getting screwed over. My dad's like, no, he'll figure it out eventually. And so when I finally did figure it out, my brother got so pissed off when I just started telling him no.
He's gonna watch this now and hear you just shit talking him.
Yeah. Hi, brother. Hi.
That's my nightmare, is my family watching this.
Oh God. No,
That's everyone in this cast nightmare.
I don't give a shit. I'm sure if my
Then,
brother, if my brother honestly, if my brother found this, he wouldn't give a shit. So
Then
Mm.
tell everyone here about when you came out of the closet to your girlfriend.
Oh, I gotta.
yeah,
It did not go over the best. She's still not quite over it. Like she's a good person. She's a very sweet, kind-hearted person, but she definitely lives in a world that's kind of narrow, I guess.
look,
Like
man,
it was
you
it was it was
just
the point where like she was almost like crying, like it was freaking her out so bad.
ooh,
Hold on, are we talking about confessing you're a brony to your
Yes.
mother?
Yeah,
No.
the girlfriend.
no. Look, Vin. Okay,
I thought you were
had to tell
talking about
her-
like actually being gay, and I was like,
Yeah, I thought
No.
I thought
What?
I was under the impression that you were telling your girlfriend that you were gay and that you wanted her to have a transsexual operation.
So you want to so okay, so Vin wants to go find Chaz Bono. Um,
I think you embellished the story a bit there, Ravvij.
I was about to say something like, okay, Vin, it's okay. We all know you want to suck that dick, so.
Yeah,
I
eventually
mean,
we
it's
Look,
not
you know,
overly
it's-
that big of a
it's-
deal, man. Like,
It's
it is something that's you look at it, it's like, oh man, that's unfortunate. Like things are good otherwise, but it's one of those things that we just kind of have to not bring up.
oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Look, it's like Tupac once said, "Why pay for pussy when dick's for free?"
I'm not sure too.
Like I said,
I'm gonna take
He
your word
did
for
say
it.
Like
that.
I
He
s-
did say that actually.
Huh.
like I
All
said,
right.
I think like I said, I think your girlfriend would have she probably would have looked at you and said, "Why couldn't you have just been gay?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why couldn't
No.
you be gay?
I'm pretty sure that was the thought.
There was a point where I had to tell my mom about me and Seven dating, and she was like, "Oh, what is he into?" And I go, "Okay, he's into My Little Pony," and she just gave me the weirdest fucking look, and I was like, "Yes, I know it's stupid." And I know you're gonna think differently of him now, but he is not that kind of brony.
Okay, let me
Even
tell
though
you
he
a funny.
is?
Let me put
That's
a funny
that's
twist.
the roughest part. I think is just being like, I know what you've heard. Please believe that's not me. I know there's no
Okay.
way I can make you believe that's not me, but
Let me
only so
let me
much to be done.
let me put a more humorous twist on this shit. So my parents are old. They're old. They were born in like the 50s and shit. Um, I came out a few years ago as funny to them, and they were really chill about it. But my dad made a comment that just stuck with me. He's like, "Well, I mean, sure, we don't have a problem with this. I mean, it's not like you're gonna go out and buy like a My Little Pony sex doll or something." And I was like floored. I was like, "Holy shit! Is that my dad?" I couldn't tell if my dad was.
A change.
Hey Tony, do you
Hmm?
still live with your parents?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a My Little Pony sex
Yeah.
doll, and we're gonna see
Oh,
what
fuck
happens.
you!
I thought that's yeah, and I
Well,
had just bought a sex doll that day.
well, I mean, I'm gonna hook it up to a freaking airbag inflator, so that as soon as you open the fucking package, boom, there it is,
Oh.
pussy and all.
And it shoots glitter all over the damn place with the air.
Oh fuck yes! I'm even gonna make a Fuda pony with balls, crotch, tits, penis, vagina, everything, just to confuse them.
It was for me like actually coming out to my mom that I was bi. It was easy because my mom was like, "Oh, okay," and but when I told my dad's like, "No, the fuck you're not." I'm like, "Yes, I am," and he's like, "No, believe
I've
it.
heard
No,
that story.
you're lying."
I've heard that stories in a lot of families where they're just like, "Well, fucking duh."
Yeah.
Like they knew the whole time we're just waiting for something to be said.
Like my family when I came out as bi as well because I came out as bi and brony at the same time. They're really chill about it, and I was actually most worried about my brother because uh Okay, I'll just say it without going into too much depth. My brother converted to Mormonism, so I was like worried how he was gonna take that, but I was surprised he was really chill about it. Like,
Good.
yeah, but he was the one I was.
Well,
Completely.
All right. A lot of people in the chat are wanting us to move on.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Vylon says tea or coffee.
Hang on. Let me refresh this because that doesn't sound like a Vylon question.
yeah.
It is. It is a Vylon question.
Oh.
Vylon actually like made tea or coffee into a link, and it links back to B25's page because that's something that B25 says all the time. That's like his catchphrase.
Okay. I still want somebody to check in on Vylon just to make sure they're okay. 'Cause,
He's being held
Um,
hostage. Just a
that-
secret message.
yeah. So definitely tea. I don't like the taste of coffee at all.
Yes, amen.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee either.
Oh.
Like,
But I
like,
don't drink tea either.
I have
Oh.
friends who are completely obsessed with it and have tried multiple times to get me into it. And every single time, it's like it puts a taste in the back of my throat that I can't get rid of for over a week.
The only quote unquote coffee, and there's a reason I'm putting it in quotes, was those fucking like Starbucks really foo-foo frappuccino shit. I don't think anyone would consider coffee.
You know what's my favorite coffee?
Not enough coffee.
Exactly.
Look,
I was gonna say
look,
that I really like the vanilla bean.
Kyrie,
Yeah.
watch yourself.
I mean,
Don't you
at the
know
same
he's
time-
seventh as fuck, buddy?
At the
Hey,
same time,
me and Seven, we share coffee, okay?
at the same time, like I'll drink tea, but I never actively seek it out. Like if it's offered to me, I'll have some, like no problem. But
Oh no, I love tea. I will specifically seek it out if I'm at a restaurant or whatever.
See, now I got addicted to the peace teas we sell at Walmart. I've had them before, but honestly, they're really, really nice and really refreshing when you're sweating your ass off. Stocking shelves for ungrateful fucking people.
yeah, I believe it.
Well, in it to away from the energy drinks. To have one or the other. I will take tea unless I'm so tired that I can't think straight. Then it's like, one sip of NOS and oh yeah, I'm doing something. Now I remember what it was.
You know,
Yeah.
I've only had energy drinks twice in my life, which was one sip of Red Bull and one of those little shot things of NOS, and that's it.
I've never had energy drinks.
I think I've only had energy drinks as part of an alcoholic mixture, like what do they call it with Red Bull and somebody help me out here.
A boiler?
Jaeger bomb.
I was gonna say four.
I would have remembered the first ingredient first. Jaeger bombs. Like I've had a couple of those, and I think there's other times I've had them just to enjoy the taste. There was only one time I had and try to stay awake. I had a 5-hour energy at one point at my old job because I had developed an unfortunate reputation for falling asleep during meetings. Like I could be fine the entire day, but as soon as I'm somewhere where I'm not actively doing something, it's just like lights out. So I was like, I'm going to take a 5-hour energy, and I'm going to get through this meeting. And I was scared to do it because I think a large part of the reason I've never gotten a coffee is because I have a fear of developing a caffeine dependency. I had to do something because I had just started with this company and I did not want to leave a bad impression. So I took a 5-hour energy, and I remember I was talking with Priest beforehand too, where I was super jittery for like the 5 minutes. I took it like 5 minutes beforehand, and I was super jittery. And I go into the meeting, and I'm like bouncing pins off the tables and shit. And within about 10 minutes, I was nodding off again. I don't know if it's that the caffeine was just jack squat, or if it's supposed to be a placebo that didn't work for me, or if meeting days just had that strong of an effect on me.
Narcolepsy.
Either way, I'm just like, okay, I really can't develop a dependency right now if it's not even gonna fucking do what it's supposed to do in the first
I'm
place.
surprised you managed to stay awake for 90 minutes of this.
Yeah.
He's gonna go quiet in a minute. We'll hear a thump when his head hits the desk.
Yeah.
Now,
it's
like I
just
said,
gonna
if I'm actively doing something, I'm better about it. Like I'm talking with you guys, I'm animating. I think I've got enough here to keep my head in the game.
Yeah, no, I have the same problem, or at least not so much with meetings. I have the problem with boring work. So, like, working the top stock in my store is a real problem, particularly when I get over to health and beauty, only because there's less noise over there. There's less airflow, so it's kind of it's a really slow kind of area. You know what I mean? The atmosphere over
Yeah.
there is just not great. I don't like going over there because I will get bored very, very quickly, and I will start like getting tired. So I'm like, fuck, I need to go somewhere and do something else. The only problem is when I'm doing, by the time I've gotten around to doing top stock over there, I've done it everywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't just go to my boss and say, hey, I need to do something other than work over there to stay awake, you know. And the problem is they'll say, oh, well, work these bins. Well, I can't work those bins because by the time I've gotten around to that, the second shift is starting to clock in and they're moving shit around to start pushing pallets out so they can start getting all that shit out to the floor. And it's like, fuck, I'm stuck here. So, hey, guess what? There's NOS up front. Well, $2. So, yeah.
Hope for the best.
It doesn't even help anymore. Like, the NOS doesn't help.
That's exactly it. I'm afraid of the caffeine dependency, and it just suddenly doesn't work anymore.
Well, I'm not even dependent on it. I'm used to it. So one doesn't do it for me for longer than 5 or 10 minutes.
You've built
And
up a tolerance.
I can't do 2 or it'll make me fucking sick. So I don't have a tolerance for a lot of it, but I've got a tolerance for 1, and it's like, this has got to be one of the biggest fucking cosmic jokes in my fucking life.
That's the point when you move on to methamphetamine, I think.
Oh, God. Hey, if they had the original Spike energy drinks, you wouldn't be wrong about that.
Good morning.
Because, well, I don't know if you guys know this over in Britain or not, but the original Spike energy drinks there was a 3% difference between those and methamphetamine. I am not joking. They had to pull it off the shelves because people were becoming addicted to it in the exact same way that meth got people addicted.
I remember they used to say the same thing about Surge, but I just saw that they were selling that on eBay a while ago, so I don't think that's true. I think that was just kids in elementary school making shit up.
Probably. Well, I mean, now you can buy caffeine by the pound, unregulated and everything, and I know kids have been having heart attacks because of this shit. They're adding it by the spoonful to drinks that already have caffeine in them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's retarded.
My
It's
mother
really,
used to
really retarded.
similar. My mother used to pour salt on crisps, and it's a bit like that.
Oh, God.
It's like, you don't need to add more.
All I can think is the movie Norbit, when Rasputia and her brother are sitting face to face, and Norbit's out on a date, and she's sitting there with a chip, as far as I remember, and she's just pouring salt onto this thing.
Yeah.
And the guy's just sitting there, I don't know nothing, and then she just starts shaking it really fast, like she's jerking somebody off or some shit. And and that at that point she freaks out. But it's that fucking, why would you put salt on a chip? It's already got salt, goddammit. It'd be one thing if you were putting it on a piece of chicken or a piece of steak or meatloaf or some actual body to it. But a chip? Really? A chip? It didn't even come out of the fryer. You're putting it... Ew. Yeah, no. Okay.
So what's
What's our
worse?
next topic? Oh,
Mm,
Pencil's got it. Duct tape. What is it useful for? Not useful for? The weirdest thing you've used it for? And how can it be incorporated into sex play? I have an answer for that second one.
Wait, she said Scotch tape.
Kidnapping.
So,
duct.
what is
Duct
it used
tape.
for? Like, do we even have to go into detail on what duct tape is
Oh,
useful
come
for?
on, man.
Like, you ask a question and it's like, yes, duct tape can help. Not useful for is the opposite thing. What is duct tape not useful for? Maybe if
Nothing.
you're having trouble getting air in your mouth, maybe I wouldn't recommend duct tape for that.
Open
You know
heart
what
surgery.
You know what I say duct tape isn't good for? It didn't fix my parents' marriage.
It didn't fix
you
the
needed
fact
a
that your
second
dad
layer.
left you.
Well, you just tape
mean,
them
like-
together.
Enigma,
I mean,
did
duct
your
tape
dad
is all, but sometimes you do need a couple layers of it.
Enigma, did your dad ever find those cigarettes he was
I think he's still getting me the Anastasia Happy Meal toy.
Oh, God. Well, okay.
Um,
It brings to mind an old saying, and
Uh,
it particularly involves children. Not loud,
this
noisy
is not a good way
children.
to start anything.
Yeah. Silence is golden, duct tape is silver. Guess which
Ah.
one I'm getting? Guess what? I'm getting both of them.
Yeah, the weirdest thing that I've used it for, I'm sure it was something at work. I used to do some construction stuff where duct tape would naturally come into play. I'm willing to bet I've patched clothes with it as well as various tools. Senior skip day, we made boats out of actual boats out of cardboard and duct tape.
Really?
And ours did pretty well. Like, we were the only ones to think of making pontoons for buoyancy. Like, just made some airtight cardboard and built a raft on top of that. Still got all soggy and shit, but it's probably the most useful thing I've ever done with it. Like outside of the norm of what you'd be thinking. And as far as how could it be incorporated into sex play, I would say, like, this is gonna sound weird. Bear with me. Which is not a good thing to say when talking about sex play. Like a reverse spank.
First,
What? The hell's
I think if the duct tape were applied well enough and sticky enough, if you were to rip it off in such a fashion,
Like wax.
it would feel a lot like a spank, but the sensation would be not about the impact but about the release.
Have you tested this?
No.
You sure? Are you sure?
This doesn't sound FDA approved.
Try it now. Do it right now. We'll listen.
No, all I have is packing tape. Packing tape
Oh,
is shit.
no, yeah, you can't get a good spank out of that.
Yeah.
Well,
Packing
okay,
tape
why
also
would
hurts a hell of a lot more than duct tape.
Well, if it gets into hair, especially.
well, okay, why would you use duct tape when you can just get a waxing kit and get the freaking that hot sensation along with the rip? That fucking bread, that hot jelly, whatever that shit is. I don't even know if it is actually wax.
Man, I don't know.
Because I very much doubt it. It feels more like Gorilla
I'm
Glue.
assuming that waxing stuff costs stuff. You can get duct tape at any hardware store, and you don't have to tell the cashier why you're buying it. The cashier doesn't have to know what you're using it for. It's just like, it's duct tape. I'm using it for garage stuff.
I'm using this, because my girlfriend and I are gonna get real kinky and shit.
Do you guys know what the Walmart game is?
What?
No.
No.
It's where say the price limit is $20. Using what $20 of items, you grab $20 of items.
Oh yeah.
And
Try to come up with like the weirdest combination.
Yeah, try to come up with the weirdest combination to make the cashier look at you funny. Like, for an example, get like a butterfly net, a Power Ranger mask, and maybe some lotion. Make them wonder what you're gonna do with all that stuff.
Make them worry.
You just reminded me of the lyrics to a song, and I will post it when I can find it. But there's this creeper. Kind of reminds me of Alex now that I think
Hi,
about
Alex.
it. Anyways, he's hanging outside this chick's house, and he keeps calling her and calling her and calling her. Eventually, the cops get him and drag him away. Well, he gets his one freak phone call, and guess who he calls? He calls her, "It's me again, Margaret. They got me, Margaret. But when I get out, I'm going to come over there with a weed eater and a live chicken."
What?
Yeah, that's what he said. And I'm thinking, what the fuck?
I think everybody's
Because you
thinking,
know
what
it's
the fuck?
sexual, but... Oh, God.
Sounds weirdly like a friend of mine, actually.
I will find it. I will find it and put it up for you guys to watch. It is stupidly hilarious. Well, and okay, so I'll go ahead and answer those questions, I guess. Duct tape is useful for everything. What it's not useful for? Keeping your shoes on in the rain. Weirdest thing I've ever used it for, I can't really remember. I use it in place of medical tape when I don't have it.
That's probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but you know,
Well, it's not like I don't, it's not like I don't put like cotton or something in between, but still. Incorporated into sex play, I already know of one, and I can't find the image because it's connected to an external hard drive, and I don't feel like getting up to grab it.
Lazy.
I'll put it in the NSFW later. But it was an old image back from my furry days, back when I first started getting into some of my favorite artists, back when DeviantArt wasn't even a twinkle in anybody's eye.
Jesus Christ, Grandpa.
This is back when I kept my secret porn stash on my mom's computer.
Oh, yes, that one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is basically this cat girl chick, and she is bound from neck to tail in duct tape, and she's got her tail shoved up her own twat, and yeah.
Ooh.
It's an interesting image, I'll say that, and it wasn't so much a turn me on image, it was one of these fascination things where you're staring at it and you're like, I don't know if I should be turned on about this or if I should be interested as, like because I'm into the predator prey play thing. I like it quite a bit, and I'm thinking, and at that time I didn't even know I was, and I'm like, this is interesting. I don't know why, but this is interesting, and it's stimulating me in some way other than sexual. So yeah,
So you had a Y boner.
kind of, yeah. All right. Anybody else?
God.
Surprised
I don't know
we
what
got
else
through
I
all
could
of our
add.
topics. Probably because I was trying to keep everybody on track.
I
No,
got
it's not. It's not. Yeah. Yeah, he's got
Alex,
another one.
I'm gonna go over your country and then stab you and then just go back home.
Wait, what? No.
I won't kill you. I'll just stab you.
What did he do
In
now?
the leg?
Yes. That's where you want it.
Yeah, baby.
Oh.
Oh, baby, stab my leg.
Okay,
Fuck them, baby.
I found it. I'm putting it in the. I'm putting it in the Picardo chat just because.
Okay.
what is this that we're watching?
It's an old funny. It's an old funny song, and when I say old, I mean it's old. It's from my childhood.
Oh, I thought you were posting the porn.
I am. Like I said, I gotta get my hard drive.
Yeah, I don't want some song.
I was about to get like really fucking excited.
I'm kind of surprised.
Well, do you
Oh,
want to
Lord.
get really fucking excited?
my
I mean, I gotta
How long ago?
find the damn thing, and it could actually take me a while, which is why I said I'd put it in there later. Not that I'm drawing at the moment, but whatever. Okay, hard drive is plugged in. Now let's try and find this.
Oh, it's exciting.
You're gonna see porn? Do you not look at porn?
I'm not allowed.
You know, our founding fathers found this country on porn. You know.
Why? Oh. God damn it. Shit. Sorry, it might actually take me a while to find this. I forgot I was in the middle of
that's okay.
reorganizing some old shit.
Well, looking at the clock, I think we're already down to our last 10 minutes,
Yeah.
so we might want to spend them
Yeah.
not looking for old art.
What's the last topic, Kyrie?
The last topic is go fuck yourself. No, the last topic is artistic uses for cheese. Face.
Artistic uses for cheese.
Yeah,
Because
like
you always
sculpture.
talk about painting. You always talk about painting a bowl of fruits, but you never talk about painting a bowl of cheese.
That's. I was thinking
That's
more like sculpting it.
That's.
Yeah.
That's
Would it be art
When-
if I go into a museum and just slap some like what's that flattened cheese called again? The kind that comes in plastic.
What do you mean, the string cheese?
No, those flat that you put in grilled cheese and they come like in plastic that you have to take off.
I don't think they have a
Like
name.
slices?
Just
A sliced
Craft
cheese.
cheese.
I think he's retarded.
yellow.
Would it be
You just
would it be
figured that out.
No.
Would it be
I
art
hate-
if I were to go into a museum and just? Would it be art if I just go into a museum and just slap some sliced cheese onto the wall?
Try it.
I
Here's
guess,
the
but
other thing. I think it would be
I'm
art
really
if you had
just cringe.
if you had just a cube of some material, probably clay. Could possibly even do like metal for like a welding thing. Welding is starting to get kind of popular. And then just make a bunch of holes in it. You don't have to call it cheese, but that's what everybody's going to think when they see it. You could really call it, my soul or reflection of self or the drawbacks of society. And like the average peon is going to walk into an art studio and be like, that's just fucking cheese.
Oh, no. I got one better. Because it's you, Enigma, you can say, it represents the tormented childhood of my father leaving me, the chaotic nature of my upbringing afterwards.
Yeah, just
Wait,
something was
which are-
constantly missing, and this represents all
Which-
the
wait.
things from my life. Surprise!
Which of the art pieces represents that thing that you said, Rav? The metal with the holes or the cheese on the wall?
The cheese.
On the wall.
Just flinging cheese everywhere.
Okay, so I was in flinging shit. Just replace it with cheese.
So are Octavia and Vinyl running away from the rape changeling?
I mean, if that's what we're gonna call it, yes. They are running away from the changeling in this scene. I'm working on. It's part of a montage sequence right now, actually. So they are running away from a changeling, and there's not a lot of context behind it. It's a little bit of what the girls have been going through during their journey. Because you said to yourself, like, the world kind of like blew up at one point, and long story short, we do find that they are somewhere,
Somewhere.
and we're going to learn more about where they're at and where they're going as time goes on.
Cordon lab from somewhere.
They're somewhere over the rainbow.
No.
Yes. Well, not entirely.
They're not somewhere over the rainbow.
But I can show you guys some other things from this montage sequence that I've been working on too. Enigma Rav, I think you guys might have seen a couple of them actually. So like the volcano and the snake, that's in here.
I've seen those, and I remember you also made, for me, you made a wet hair ember.
Yeah, totally unrelated. I know that I remember that. That started off with I was working on a scene where there's water, like vinyls in water, and she's getting swept down river. We're gonna have to work. She's getting swept down river, and so of course her hair's got to be wet. And I got to the end of that, and I was like, oh, that actually looks kind of cool. And I put that in a chat, and then you were like, oh, like make me a wet ember. It's not every day, but every so often I'm just like, you know what? Fucking challenge accepted. And I think it took me a couple of hours, but I'm really happy with the way it came out. Here, this thing here, I've got it pulled up. I don't know. My voice for you guys here in Discord is probably different for everybody else watching, but
Yeah, there's a bit of a delay.
so there's her in some water. They wind up going up a tree because they're getting chased by a bear. It all goes really fast. I need to see if I can slow some of that down. Volcano's looking really good. I'm happy with how that's coming out. Snake. Puddle of mud. I'm still working on that. Lots of
Oh,
fun.
Oh, nice.
she's drowning. Save her.
So most of this stuff is just like the two girls doing stuff and reacting to stuff. I haven't gotten the rest in there because pretty much because I have their puppets, it's a lot easier for me to animate them. But I'm still like I just started working on the puppet for the changeling on Monday, and I've been working with that. But all the not all of them, but most of the backgrounds and other things that they interact with, like bears and bats, and there's a dragon towards the end.
Was that Mothra? That looks like Mothra.
It was vaguely inspired by Mothra. I don't know. I just wanted one of the girls being carried away by something, and it was like, why not toss in a giant moth? I can do that.
So what program are you using?
This is Macromedia Flash MX 2004. It is, as you can imagine from the date of 2004, it is very old, and it's prior to Adobe buying out the Macromedia suite. So that involves other things like Fireworks and Dreamweaver, but I think Flash is the most well-known and widely used of them.
I've been using a Toon Boom for mine.
Toon Boom. I hear so much about Toon Boom. I've thought about looking into it, but honestly, at this point, I feel so invested in what I've got going right here. Like I have already done so much that I don't want to try to transfer it over, or start it all over again in another program. If I were to do another animation project, I would definitely look into a more modern software. But I'm gonna ride this one out until this is done at the very least.
But Ven, you started this project back in 2004.
No, if I had started back in 2004, maybe it would be done. I'm not saying it'd be likely, but maybe it would be done. January of 2013 is when I first started on it. And man, have I come a long way since then. Like my initial working on this was I took somebody, it wasn't even from the show, I took somebody else's art, redrew it, and tried animating it. And it looked so bad. And it wasn't until the Flamingo Ridge 1984 with the double rainbow came out, and he was like, here's my puppets. Here's just like a whole sheet of all the different ways the mouths look. Here's how the characters look from 3 different angles. And I'm like, this makes everything better. I can just follow this as an example and everything will be good. And it has definitely made things better.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But when are you gonna do the NSFW versions?
I have never dabbled in the NSFW side of the fandom. I don't have an intent for it. I'm not going to come out on a high horse and say you guys are all sickos and you should be ashamed of what you do. But
no, we are sickos. Come on, we are sickos. Come on.
But you're also my friends.
Aww, kind.
I don't have any intents on doing that. I don't have a Patreon. I did have somebody ask me once if I was ever going to do a Patreon so they could support me through this, and I'm just like, the fact that it's taken me 5 years to get where I'm at, I can't in good conscience take money from anybody to work on this when I really don't have a guarantee that it's ever going to get completed. I'm trying. I'm getting there, but it's a slow race.
Hmm.
Now make me an animated intro for my OC.
Enigma, I told you, like those little fuck it moments are once in a blue moon, and you used up yours with the Ember Wet picture.
Yeah. Yeah, you just be glad with what you got in it. Okay. Vin was so kind to just take time out of his life to be like, okay, you know what? I'll draw this for you, and then you're like, oh, that's good. Give me
It
more
was
now.
fun, though. I guess the last fuck it moment I had was making the intro for the Barcast. That took me 4 months just to put some perspective on things.
Oh god.
That 30-second
Oh
animation.
yeah, the Barcast intro.
Yeah, that 30-second animation with no background took me 4 months.
I like the very ending of that,
What the
of
fuck?
what Enigma says. Very end.
Dragon on Dragon Smeks.
Yeah, that was like a perfect recreation there.
I also
Well,
find it strange how you make it look like I'm looking at Pencil's crotch, but to be fair, she is secreting something red down there.
Yeah, I swear it didn't. It originally was not supposed to look like that. Like I had to slow mo her violently shaking you, which naturally has your head going back and forth constantly. So slow motion, yeah, you do see a little bit more dirty intricacies. And it's funny. There was one point where I was working on it, and I sent this to picture Pencil because it cracked me up. I crack up all the time while animating anything because it's so funny what comes out of the woodwork when you're halfway through something. But there was one point she was giving you the sex eyes, and
What?
Hey, Alex, it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay, the shipping's confirmed.
Penigma shipping.
We Penigma, we know y'all went down to Tijuana. We got it all recorded.
No, I laughed for like a solid 5 minutes, and as you can imagine, everything that Pencil said to me after that was in all caps. She was.
Can you imagine if she just jumps into the chat in like less than 20 seconds and starts screaming at you? What the fuck?
Why she yelling? Why am I giving Enigma the sex eyes?
Is she unlocked for the mugshots chat?
Oh yeah, be very afraid.
She has access to everywhere. She can jump in whenever she feels like it.
I'm sorry. Please don't kill me, and please don't like shove a bunch of cheese in my mouth the next time I see you.
Yeah.
You totally should.
Like, no, please don't.
I guess another fuck it moment was that one with Chrysalis eating cheese and Canada. That was one that I made that one for Pencil on her birthday sometime back.
I put that on the thread. That's so good.
All right, it looks like the cast is over.
It is.
Yeah, that went by fast.
It did. It went by faster than usual. So that means it's good.
Time flies by.
Shame on all of shame on all of you for missing such a good cast.
Thanks, guys, for.
Fuck is wrong?
Yes, everybody that is in the mugshots right now has missed the cast. You, me, everybody. We're not in the cast right now. This is all an illusion. You're actually asleep, guys.
I do want to thank you guys for hosting me and giving me 2 solid hours of productivity on the Flash here. It's been getting rough for me to find the time for it. I'm not saying that they were the most productive of hours, but they're more than it usually gets.
2 solid hours, and all you did was make the changeling turn his head and decapitate him.
He's flying.
Yeah,
he's flying now.
That's great.
He's a headless changeling. He just flies about.
He zooms in, he hovers for a moment, and he zooms. Look at the automatic. He's gonna crash right into the fucking ground right there.
Actually, if you can probably make a gif out of that where he's flying like horizontally and he's like swiggity swooty coming for that booty.
Yeah.
I guess we put him at just the right angle. He looks like he's coming right after Vinyl there.
Gotta get that fly.
Okay.
Alright. While I'm continuing to look through my old porn stuff.
Are you gonna shell whilst you're looking?
I'm gonna share a couple of things in the NSFW. But anyways, Thank you, Ven, for coming on. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
And these have been your mugs. Alex?
Oh god, don't call us that. That's weird.
We're all mugs to hold the alcohol.
So I was thinking mugs like, you dirty fucking mug, stuff like that.
It's a very odd name.
It's mug shots. It's mug shots. We're all supposed to have jail numbers and shit.
I remember this is going to be sketchbook cancer. Where do mugshots come from?
Finishing up everybody's mugshot, so
Yeah,
the only
you still have
person.
to, you haven't even started on mine. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
I haven't started on yours yet. I kind of put it on a hiatus, but the mugshots banner will get finished.
Yay.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll actually have
Alright.
a mugshots.
All right, so Alex and Enigma.
I'm the kind of mug that has a fancy coaster underneath it.
Oh God.
Probably because he's part of the actual barcast as well.
No, he's just using that little toilet protector thing.
Oh, so you mean he's shit? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. And this has been the Japanese waffles
Fuck you again.
with eyes. All with the
No!
eyes.
Oh, there's an eye in every square. No!
Those are chocolate chips.
And Tony Montana.
Oh God, Parmesan smells like barf. Okay.
And this has been Ravvij, just fucking everybody's life up. We hope you all enjoyed it and have a wonderful night.
Good night.
Maybe. Go
Fuck
fuck
you
yourself.
guys.
Bye. Pencil, please
Bye.
don't
Kill
break me with
yourself.